Hi, so it's been an unreasonably long time, but stay with me. I've been taking a break, more so focusing on my personal life and enjoying my hobbies like badminton, art, piano, and more recently volleyball. Also, school is absolutely killing me. They're giving me so many exams and projects. But I'm finally back after another long break. So, let's get into it. Trigger warning, there will be drawings and depictions of needles, blood, and medical stuff. So if you are not comfortable with it, please click off the video and watch a different one. See you later! Imagine this. It is your birthday. You're feeling a little under the weather, but it doesn't even taint your happiness in order to have a joyful time with your family. Your feeling of being off is pushed into the back of your mind for 2 whole days as you spend time with your loved ones for your special time. On the night of the second day, you shower and realize there is a small noticeable stinging pain along your back. You don't think much of it until you take a towel and wipe yourself, suddenly feeling a sharp and sudden stinging pain in the spot that you just wiped. You get to your room and look in the mirror, and you see tiny blisters appear on your back. You don't think twice. Maybe it's just an allergic reaction. Maybe it was the foreign dish you tried today. You lie down and realize the discomfort is still there, so you shift your position and drift into a deep, uneasy slumber. The next day you look in the mirror and suddenly realize that the area that was irritated had grown more and wrapped around your chest. Surprise, surprise, 1 week later you're diagnosed with shingles and barely alive. Anyways, I was diagnosed with shingles back in the summer of 2023, on my birthday. Yippee! I actually caught a cold a day before my birthday, but I forced myself to have fun and celebrate with my family, not telling them a single thing, which is probably one of the stupidest ideas that I have ever done. I was feeling a little worse that night after an entire day of having fun outside, so I decided to take a shower and knock out early. The issue was, as I was taking my scalding hot shower, it felt like someone was poking needles around my middle back. I quickly finished my shower, get out of it, and then dry myself off in my room, where I checked the mirror to see small red bumps lining my back. Well, that can't be right. I called my mom into my room and had her take a look. She assumed that it was a heat rash, as it was during the very hot and humid summer, and having more water molecules in the air than the Pacific Ocean. And my mom assumed it probably just irritated my skin. She left it at that and then shooed me off to bed. Day 2, I woke up feeling stiff, with the pain around my back getting worse, and I felt very sluggish. There were more blisters and rashes from the previous day, and it was definitely a lot more sensitive. It was lucky that this was during the summer break and school wasn't happening for like another 3 weeks, because if I had to go to school while I am like this, or miss lessons, I'd just pass away on the spot. Emotionally, socially, mentally, physically, and academically. My mom decided to take me to the local clinic and brought me up to the doctor's, where we had a small wait before we were taken in by the physician. She checked my temperature, in which I had a mild fever, which wasn't a serious concern for the time being. She did all the checks, my vitals, throat, and heart, before telling me to take off my shirt and show her the rash. I took off my shirt and the doctor examined it closely before asking me a series of questions to do a full history examination. She then told me after some time, "You most likely have shingles." Wait, what are shingles? It's a painful rash that is basically what happens when the chickenpox virus reactivates in your body, typically when your immune system is weakened, and in your case, it's a cold that triggered it. For those who are still unsure, the varicella-zoster virus is what causes chickenpox, and it reactivates to cause shingles, a viral infection. It appears as a rash that hurts and blisters, and when a person has previously contracted chickenpox, the virus will remain latent in the dorsal root ganglia, which emerges from the dorsal root of the spinal nerves. The doctor then asked, "Does the rash hurt when you touch it?" To which I responded with, "Yes, I can barely lie down on my back." My mom was surprised and asked me if it seriously felt like that, to which I said, "Yes." She then apologized seriously for not noticing sooner, in which the doctor said that shingles was most common in adults, and as it turns out, my father had gotten shingles previously in his life. The doctor prescribed me some medication to take and had me go home and rest. I took the medication for, I don't even know how long, but I was having trouble getting a full night's sleep, sweating almost double the amount due to the fever. I was barely able to force food down my throat, and I had unforgiving headaches and nausea that caused me to stay in bed for nearly the entire day with the air conditioning on full blast. Things were not looking good for me at all. The only thing I ever craved were fruits, and my mom would buy me a lot of fruits, in which it was the only thing I ate for an extremely long time. The medication that was prescribed wasn't helping at all, and it actually seemed like it was getting worse. Then, one fateful night, I suddenly got a piercing, sharp ear pain as I soaked in my own pity on the couch. It was constant, so bad to the point where I was crying. It was way past our curfew for electronics, but my dad let me continue to use my phone to keep me distracted for the pain, in order to see if it would go away, but it didn't. so I was watching anime through a flurry of tears. My dad and mom got really concerned, so they locked my brother home, grabbed me, put me in the car, and sped off to the hospital. On the way, I was slouched over in my seat, barely able to keep my head up. My mom and dad would poke their heads around during every red light and talk to me to make sure I wasn't dead. We arrived at the hospital at 11:30 at night, where I was admitted quickly and brought to an outside section in which the walls were put up in front of the front door. The doctors told us that the hospital was too full and overcrowded, and that this was the only place to bring me. Nonetheless, I am forever grateful to these doctors and ER workers for working hard to care for everyone. They actually had AC hooked up so there was cool air, and they had me lie down on a bed and gave me a small pillow to hold while they checked on my vitals. I laid there on my phone for quite a long time, feeling kind of peaceful. The slow but constant sound of aircon and my parents acknowledging that I needed the peace made me feel very drowsy and sleepy. The doctor then reappeared, saying I was dangerously dehydrated and that I would need to be put on a saline drip at the same time, and draw my blood. It also explained why I was desperately eating fruits. My body was overheating and losing a lot of water, because I was sweating a lot but not drinking enough water. I'm not scared of needles, having previously gotten like 13 rabies injections, but the thought of having one stuck in my body for 4 hours didn't really sit right with me. However, the doctor explained that it would go in the back of my hand and not on my elbow area. After telling me that, I felt a lot better about it, and the needle was surprisingly painless. The doctor was super gentle and kind and made sure I got comfortable with the equipment beforehand. After the needle was inserted, the doctors gave me and my family some privacy and allowed me to rest. Saline drips are cool. After just 1 hour, I got my first urge to pee in 3 days. Whenever I asked to use the bathroom, the doctor would disconnect my drip and my mom would bring me to the bathroom. I truly am grateful for how well the hospital took care of me and my illness and how kindly they treated us. After hours of periodically peeing, sleeping stiffly, memes, and complaining about pain, I finished the 2 bags of drips. The doctor then came back with a blood test, saying my vitamin levels were also really low, saying that I have to take these huge horse pills along with eardrops for my infected ears. These horse pills were the size of my thumb, and I had to take 2, 3 times a day. These things would get stuck in my throat, slicing it open, and on God was it painful. Even worse, school started when I was supposed to be taking them, so I had to speed take these pills whole, instead of using a knife and cutting them up into swallowable pieces. Oh my God. To make it even worse, the eardrops worsened my ears. They made it so that every sound I heard was extremely muffled, and if I spoke, it would sound 10 times louder to myself. I basically had the skill of hearing equivalent to that of an 80-year-old man. I had to go to an otolaryngologist, where they found my eardrum to be inflamed and stuffed to the brim with mucus. And I had to take more pills, along with a cup of something to dissolve the freaking mucus. And on top of all of this, I was still going to school. Oh my God, for the 3rd time. The only plus was that I had a swimming unit in PE that I got to skip because I couldn't swim. But yeah, cheers to my friends. Anyways, 3 months of torture later, my ears finally cleared up, and I was able to hear for the first time in ages. I will never take clear hearing for granted again. So that was my 2nd near-death experience, and a whole lot of more torture. I don't want to, include every little detail in the doctor's visit because it would be a lot of talking, and a lot of sulking, and a lot of complaining. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Sorry I was dead for ages. I kept you waiting. My bad. But I'm back. And I'll see you in the next one. Stay safe.